So we are going to run the country. That's according to Trump talking about Venezuela. And I want to give you guys the latest of what's going on with that. This is Fox News coverage. They don't hide it. They say Trump says U.S. will run Venezuela until judicious transition after Maduro's capture. They're now also releasing pictures of Trump when they staged their attack on Venezuela. That's Maduro there. They're tweeting this stuff out. So evidently he's on a plane en route to New York. And then this is Trump, Hegseth, Rubio, and others in Mar-a-Lago, right? The golf resort, basically during the attack. My first reaction when I saw this, like, okay, so they put up a black curtain. Is that the security that you have? Is this the top secret? Is this how you run things? Is that the plan, that we're going to do top secret, military attacks from your golf course and you just put up a curtain for security? No, seriously, I'm just showing you guys what I see. It's just crazy. The whole thing is crazy, of course. There were multiple attacks. This is from the New York Times in different areas of Venezuela. So you can see a couple coastlines and then also towards the middle. The vice president now is stepping in as interim president of Venezuela. Her name is Rodriguez. Rodriguez calls for Maduro return after a, quote, barbaric act. This is some of the language. It says Venezuelan Vice President Delcy Rodriguez is speaking now on state TV, and she's not exactly sounding like someone who's cooperating with the U.S. as Trump had claimed. So Trump was saying before that, they were going to work together, whatever, but it doesn't sound like that, right? She has called for Maduro's return, called the U.S. action, quote, barbaric and a kidnapping, and says Maduro is the country's only president. Trump had claimed in the news conference that she was sworn in to succeed Maduro. On the other hand, she says that Venezuela is open to, quote, respectful relationships, and a constitution chamber will make the emergency decree in the coming hours, which will go over that. We know this is about oil. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that Americans are already planning some sort of investment trip. Literally, that's what it says. This is finance industry eyes investment opportunities in Venezuela. Some of Wall Street are already considering possible investment opportunities, right? And then it says here, they're doing some sort of trip. He is planning a trip to Venezuela with officials from top hedge funds and asset managers. So this is all Trump's buddies. They're all interested in taking over Venezuela. Determine whether there are investment prospects in the country under new leadership. The trip will feature about 20 officials from finance, energy, defense sectors, and others. The tentative plan is for the group to travel to Venezuela in March. So, they already got plans in place to meet with the new government, whoever that's going to be, new president, finance minister, energy minister, economic minister, and head of the central bank and the Caracas Stock Exchange. So we're not hiding it. I'm just showing you guys. It's the whole thing. I mean, everything is crazy that's going on here. So that was the coming from Charles Myers, chairman of the consulting firm Signum Global Advisors, was saying that, a former head of investment advisory at Evercore. The UN is saying, right, this sets a dangerous precedent, which of course it does, because the USA is basically saying, hey, we can just go in and kidnap whoever we want and do regime change, take your oil, and we'll bring in all of our business people to figure out how to get that part to work. Representative Frank Pallone says, how does this help our national security? It doesn't. Trump carried out military operations in Venezuela without congressional approval. He committed an illegal act of war while risking American lives, all while calling himself a, quote, peace president. I strongly support this action. So my understanding, at least I saw an earlier report, you never know with this stuff, but I think at least one American soldier was wounded. That's what I saw. So we'll see. I don't think we have loss of any life. I don't necessarily know on the Venezuelan side. They haven't released anything on that. But this is where we're at. Kenneth Ross says that this was a good, well, not a good thing that Trump did it, but just a good assessment. With no UN Security Council authorization, so USA is going alone. No military threat from Venezuela that could possibly justify a claim of self-defense, right? Venezuela didn't bomb us or anything. Trump's invasion of Venezuela to capture Maduro is a blatant act of aggression. Okay, here's more. This is from the interim vice president, so Rodriguez. Says Washington, quote, launched an unprecedented military aggression, constitutes a terrible stain on the development of bilateral relations. The masks have fallen off. I was talking about Trump's invasion. The masks have fallen off, revealing only one objective: regime change in Venezuela. This regime change would also allow for seizure of our energy, mineral, and natural resources. This is the true objective, and the world and the international community knows it, right? Must know it. It's a better way to say it. Must know. That's what they say. I know there's a lot to go over. Trump says they're going to make a lot of money. Trump also says we're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country. That's Trump's words. He said the country's oil industry has been total bust. Quote, they were pumping almost nothing by comparison to what they could be pumping. That's according to Trump. Chevron put out a statement, one of the American oil companies. Quote, with more than a century in Venezuela, we support a peaceful, lawful transition that promotes stability and economic recovery. We're prepared to work constructively with the U.S. government during this period, leveraging our experience and presence to strengthen U.S. energy security. That's what Chevron says. Marjorie Taylor Greene put out a statement basically saying, this is not what MAGA wants, stuff like that. I'll read a little bit so you get a sense of it. So she says, I served on the Homeland Security Committee for the past 3 years. I'm 100% for strong, safe borders and stopping narco terrorists and cartels from trafficking deadly drugs and human trafficking. Then she mentioned fentanyl, but that's more Mexico. Mexican cartels are primarily and overwhelmingly responsible for killing Americans with deadly drugs. Now, this is important because I'll hear in comments, oh, but Chris, you're so dumb. We're getting all this fentanyl from Venezuela. And it's like, okay, if you don't listen to me, at least listen to Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's saying Mexico and fentanyl. Okay, just want to make that clear. So this isn't about drugs at all. It's about the oil. This is from Marjorie Taylor Greene. If U.S. military action and regime change in Venezuela was really about saving American lives from deadly drugs, then why hasn't Trump and men taken action against Mexican cartels, right? More. The next obvious observation is that removing Maduro, this is a clear move for control over Venezuelan oil supplies and will ensure stability for the next obvious regime change war in Iran. So now from her, she's saying Trump's probably going to go for Iran. And of course, why is it okay for U.S. military to invade, bomb, and arrest a foreign leader, but Russia is evil for invading Ukraine and China is bad for aggression against Taiwan? Is it only okay if we do it? I'm not endorsing Russia or China. She's just basically saying we look like hypocrites if we, do this to Venezuela, then we can't really have much say against Russia or China, right? She says, regime change funding foreign wars and America's tax dollars being consistently funneled to foreign causes, foreigners both home and abroad, and the foreign governments, while Americans are consistently facing increasing costs of living, housing, healthcare, and learn about scams and fraud of their tax dollars, is what most Americans enraged. Especially the younger generations, boomers and half of Gen X will cheer on neocon wars and talking points, but the other half of Gen X and the majority on down see through it and hate it. So I'll be curious where you guys fall in if you agree with her assessment that older people will go with the war. Not necessarily. I mean, there's a lot of older people who lived through Iraq, Iran, Vietnam, etc., and are like, no, let's not do this again. This is, again, from Marjorie Taylor Greene, because sometimes MAGA people don't listen to me, so let's listen to her. Americans disgust with our own government's never-ending military aggression and support of foreign wars is justified because we are forced to pay for it, and both parties, Republicans and Democrats, always keep the Washington military machine funded and going. This is what many in MAGA thought they voted to end. Talking about, again, just endless foreign wars. Boy, were we wrong. As the baby boomers slip away, both in votes and power, the electoral future will be decided for candidates that focus on American economy and populism and promising prosperity for Americans only. As of right now, neither party is offering a solution. So she's probably going to run for president or something like that. Bernie Sanders states, and I just want to give you different points of view in this, he says, Donald Trump has once again shown his contempt for the Constitution and the rule of law. The President of the United States does not have the right to unilaterally take this country to war, even against corrupt and brutal dictator like Maduro. The United States does not have the right, as Trump stated this morning, to, quote, run Venezuela. Congress must immediately pass a war powers resolution to end this illegal military operation and reassert its constitutional responsibilities. And this is always the important question, to pose to anyone in MAGA, because I know it's frustrating when you're around these people. It's like, do you believe in the Constitution at all, right? Do you think a president should do whatever they want and just screw Congress, right? Does it, like, I guess, is that in your world? I mean, I disagree. I think if you're going to do anything like this, at least present a case to Congress so to get them on record that voted for this stuff. But like this idea that, hey, we're going to just do it and haha. Mamdani has a statement here, and this matters because Maduro is going to be charged in New York. He says, I was briefed this morning on the U.S. military capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, as well as their planned imprisonment in federal custody here in New York City, right? So that's where they're taking them. So obviously it matters to the mayor there. Unilaterally attacking a sovereign nation is an act of war and a violation of federal and international law. This blatant pursuit of regime change doesn't just affect those abroad. It directly impacts New Yorkers, including tens of thousands of Venezuelans who call this city home. My focus is their safety and the safety of every New Yorker, and my administration will continue to monitor the situation as issue relevant guidance. So I'd be curious, maybe we'll get more news on this. Did the Trump people let the people in New York know, hey, we're bringing Maduro to New York, right? So I haven't seen anything of that other than the announcement was like, we're taking him to New York and going to charge him there. So I don't know if the mayor or the governor knew that they're going to be taking Trump's prisoner. I don't know. I really don't know. But this is what they say. Governor Kathy Hochul says, this morning I was briefed on developments in Venezuela with Nicolas Maduro, following President Trump's flagrant abuse of power by acting without congressional approval. New York is home to a vibrant Venezuelan community, and I stand with the families here abroad in hopes of a better future, more stable future. While there's no credible threats to New York at this time, state police are coordinating with our partners in law enforcement to monitor the situation and keep New Yorkers safe. There's always concern for any number of things that could happen. So hope you understand, like there's a lot of moving parts right now, and it's the whole thing is frustrating. I mean, just giving you guys different points of view. This is Representative Nadler says, Congress has not authorized the president to conduct a war in Venezuela, nor has it authorized a, quote, large-scale strike as President Trump described it. Trump's actions are completely illegal and unconstitutional. His apparent justification of these acts as a mere law enforcement action is laughable and ignores the reality of the regime change he just conducted without congressional authorization, right? So again, we're talking about boots on the ground and taking the oil and choosing president or whatever, and we're going to run the country, right? This grave abuse of power that has put American troops in harm's way and threatens wider conflict in the region. If you don't know, China gets a lot of their oil from Russia. So you have from Venezuela. Russia's also partners with Venezuela as well. So this has international implications. So I don't know if like Trump's going to try to cut off rare minerals and oil from China because hey, we control Venezuela now. We'll see. This is a major international disruption, as I'm sure you know. More. I call upon Speaker Johnson for this matter to vote before Congress as soon as possible. You do have a statement from China here because recently China has sent representatives to Venezuela. That was just a few hours ago. And that this is a statement then. China is deeply shocked by and strongly condemns the U.S. blatant use of force against a sovereign state and action against its president. Such hegemonic acts of the U.S. seriously violate international law and Venezuela's sovereignty and threaten peace and security in Latin America and the Caribbean region. China firmly opposes it. We call on the U.S. to abide by international law and purposes and principles of the UN Charter and stop violating other countries' sovereignty and security. So I know I went through a lot here. I just want to give you as much information as I can and different points of view on this stuff. I think this whole thing is crazy. I've said that several times, and this is going to end up costing Americans a lot of money. And if you ever wonder why your life doesn't get better in USA, right? Why your schools are awful while there's basically infrastructure falling apart, the costs are going up, et cetera. It's just because like you're spending all your money and time doing this kind of stuff, trying to run other countries when you can barely run your own. I mean, it's obvious that this whole thing is absolutely corrupt. And sure, maybe people on Wall Street and whoever Trump's buddies are going to make money. They're looking for investment opportunities. But this whole idea that it's going to benefit regular people is absolutely insane and ludicrous. And it's a simple question. Like, are you richer now? Like, do you feel richer that Trump's saying you're going to go make money in Venezuela? So that's my thoughts on this. I'd like to hear yours, and I'll catch you all in the next video.